Welcome and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our second series of 10-minute lessons. Super excited to kind of have a whole new series of these that we're going to start. For those who don't know me, my name is Alana Dunoff, and I'll be one of your 10-minute lesson instructors along with my colleague Jim Myers. Just a quick 30-second, actually maybe less than that, background on me. For those who don't know me, I've been in facilities for about 30 years, mostly as a strategic facilities planner and a project manager. I also am an FM educator. I've been an adjunct professor for about 18 years, currently teaching at Temple University in their facilities management program. And I'm a qualified instructor for both the Pro FM and the IFMA FMP. Lots of virtual training going on these days. So the topic today is FM and productivity. And I've probably bitten off more than I can chew in 10 minutes because there's a lot to talk about here, but I'll just jump right in and hope we get to everything that I'd like to, some ideas I want to share with you today on the topic. So I wanted to start off today with the ISO definition for facilities management. This is the international standards definition for facilities management that came out in about 2017. And if you're familiar with the FM definition at all, then if you look at this definition, you'll see about the idea of integrates people, place, and process. And that has been part of the FM vocabulary for a really long time. That's what our job is, integrating people, place, and process. But what's added to this definition, I think, is really interesting and paramount to our conversation is that last line that says, with the purpose of improving the quality of life, so health and safety of people and the productivity, in nice big bold letters, of the core business. This definition really sets the stage for understanding how important FM's role is in productivity for the organization. So what exactly is productivity? We say, oh, it's about doing things or getting things done. Well, what's interesting, oh, are you not seeing my PowerPoint, someone just said? I forgot to share my screen. That is so not, I see I've lost my touch. I am so sorry. Thank you for letting me know that I have not shared my screen. Let's try that again. So, haha. See, I'm just talking like I know what I'm doing. So there's the ISO definition of facilities management. So now you see that. Everyone can see my screen now, I presume. All right, so what is productivity? So now you can see my screen. Yes, everyone can see my screen? You'd think I wasn't doing this enough times. So productivity isn't just about, getting things done. It turns out that the real definition of productivity is a measurement. It's a way to measure efficiency. It's about outputs and incomes and what do we get from putting something in, which is sort of interesting because we think of like, oh, what did I get done today? Was I productive? But it turns out that the true definition of productivity is measurement. And we'll come back to this in the end. Well, what I want to do today is I want to talk about two elements that I think FMs really need to embrace as part of productivity. One is it's about the workspaces that we provide and that we create that can enhance productivity. And the second one is our role as a leader, as a manager, and how we motivate and manage people to be productive in those spaces. It's a lot to chew, but we'll see if I can get through it all. So the first area I want to focus on is this idea of how does FMs enhance productivity in our spaces. And what's interesting about this sort of the sheet that you have, the slide that you have up in front of you, is that all of these ideas, and I'm going to talk through some of them, are all based in evidence, in evidence-based design or evidence-based research, meaning that there are a lot of things that we have learned about the physical environment through research that helps us understand that if we do these things, we really could help boost productivity in the physical space. So for example, improving environmental services. Environmental services is the temperature. It's too hot, it's too cold. It's the light, it's the acoustics, it's the access to natural light in those spaces. And there's tons of research out there that talks about that there are really optimal temperatures and optimal lighting strategies to really boost productivity. If you've ever been, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're really hot and you're really tired, your productivity will wane, right? We know these things that we can do. We know 68 to 72 is the optimal temperature. So there's things that we can do like that to improve environmental services to boost productivity. There's also things we can do in our spaces, right? We can improve the use of space. I'm a firm believer in the one size does not fit all when it comes to the workspace. And we're seeing that even more today as we're kind of managing through COVID. But the idea that we have to have a variety of different spaces in order to be the most productive. Sometimes I need a quiet space. Sometimes I'm unhappy with a noisy space and an interactive space. Sometimes I need a collaborative space or an opportunity to collide and run into somebody to have an innovative opportunity. Sometimes I need a formal meeting space. Sometimes I need something informal, and that we can think about and should be thinking about how do we create spaces that create those. Increasing occupant control is about other human factors needs like ergonomics, right? Having a proper desk to sit at. Like, what are you sitting at home right now? I have students who are sitting on their beds, and we know that that is not a productive place to be. That's where you get neck problems and back problems, and you're up working like this. Those aren't healthy, productive spaces. But we can create those spaces and give people that kind of control. Aesthetics. So color, light, artwork, nature, all of those things make us feel good. One of the places that people like to be most is outdoors, and yet we are always inside. So what do we do to connect people to the outside environment so that they can really see and engage and enjoy? And you feel better when you're in those spaces. When you feel better, you tend to be more productive. And then finally, technology. We're using a whole lot of technology today, but in FM, we can really boost technology of our people in the organization by what we provide to them and to have access to. I mean, if we had this pandemic 10 years ago, we would not be doing this with the same elegance that we're doing it today, right? We have the technology and the resources behind us to create those kinds of spaces. So there's lots of ways, and there's more ways that we can build the physical environment to be really productive. The second one is about motivating and managing people to be productive. So here's where we put our sort of leadership hat on and think about productivity from that standpoint. And I want to share with you one theory, and some of you who've been in some of our classes may have seen this before, but this is one theory around motivation, what motivates people to really be productive. It's called Herzberg's motivation hygiene theory. And that first line there that says there's no premise, the premise between, the basic premise is that there's no connection rather between job satisfaction and job dissatisfaction. Job dissatisfaction tends to be associated with what they call hygiene factors. Hygiene factors are how much money we get paid, the working conditions, do we think we're gonna have a job? Do we like our boss? Do we like our coworkers? If you get lousy pay and your boss really stinks and your coworkers aren't really very good and very efficient and helpful, then you're probably not going to enjoy your job so much. That's the dissatisfaction. You might get great pay, but it doesn't mean that you love your job. Loving your job is often associated with motivational factors. The things that really make us happy in our job is when we're challenged, when we are given advancement, when we're given a new project with more responsibility, when we've been given an opportunity to train, to learn, when we're recognized for it. How good does it feel when someone says, man, you did a good job, congratulations, right? That's motivating. And when you have that kind of motivation, that leads to productivity. So as managers and leaders, we have to find the ways to challenge, engage, motivate, empower our employees to ensure that they are the most productive they can be. That's how they are their best selves. You can pay them good money, but that is not necessarily going to mean that their work product is going to be better. The work product is going to be better when you motivate them and help them realize their potential. That's what really feels good to us in the end. So as I wrap all this up, I want to go back to that idea of the definition of productivity and as a measurement tool. And it turns out that a lot of organizations these days measure productivity by looking at absenteeism. Because if I am sick, if I have a cold or COVID, gosh forbid, or I have a neck problem or a back issues or anything else that happens, if I am not working, I am not productive, period. I can't tell how productive Mike Parker is sitting at his desk all day. He's there, so I'm assuming he's getting stuff done. But I know for sure that if he called out sick, he's definitely not getting any work done. So the last story I want to share with you is about a company here in Philadelphia that built a brand new facility, 900 people, and they used that unassigned space concept, right? Where 900 spaces and anybody could work anywhere they wanted to, but no one owned a particular space. And they also had a clean desk policy, meaning at the end of the day, everything had to go into the lockers or being taken home with them. And what that allowed them to do was really clean the office space. And it turned out about a year or so after they had been in this building, it turned out they started looking at their sick time and their absentee rate, and it had declined by like 30% because they were able to clean the space really well. So I share this story because we're in this sort of moment of COVID and talking about cleaning. And I think it's this great intersection of FM and productivity, where we create strategic environments for people to work in, lots of variety, lots of different kinds of spaces that can also be really clean, all the environmental services. And we create spaces that allow people to work, to be there. Because if you're productive, right? If you're home, if you're there and you're working wherever you're working from, and you can be productive, that's really what we're looking to. So I think this is really neat intersection. And that is the end of my 10-minute lesson. That went so fast and I packed so much into that 10-minute lesson. But I'd love if you had any questions, if you wanted to stick around or comments and throw them in the chat or whatever you would like. I would like to share with you that Jim will be up next week for our next 10-minute lesson on utility demand. He is the utility expert. So he's got lots of stuff to share for that. And then we'll be back in January for the entire month of January with 4 additional lessons. And then I also wanted to mention, if you're thinking about credentials for your New Year's resolution, we would love to have you join us for any of our, I'm teaching both an FMP class and Jim and I are teaching a Pro FM class. So there's lots of opportunities for learning and engaging going on. So that's it. I did it. A little bit stumbling there, but did manage to get through it. If you have anything, or comments or questions, happy to stick around. Otherwise, you may go on with your day after your 10-minute lesson.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thanks so much.